Arby shouldn't exist, but somehow it does. The business has faced bankruptcy, had greedy owners, clueless administrators, and loads of court cases, yet it refuses to fizzle out. This is the Arby's tale of grit, perseverance, and determination. Today, many people know Arby's as a fast food chain with a unique spin on sandwiches. Rather than buns and patties, it created the roast beef sandwiches. Did you know that the company's founders, Forrest and Leroy Raffel, created it to give McDonald's a run for its money? The brothers had been in the food service equipment business for a while and had discovered that there was more to be made in the fast food industry. So the brothers set to work. They founded Arby's in Boardman, Ohio in 1964. Burgers were what most fast food chains sold to customers, and the market for it had become saturated. The brothers wanted to create a fast food franchise that served something other than hamburgers. They didn't want to become another McDonald's, especially as Burger King was in the mix. So they came up with a solution: the roast beef sandwiches. Leroy and Forrest Raffel wanted to name their dream restaurant Big Tex, but they discovered something that broke their hearts. The brothers discovered an individual in Akron, Ohio already claimed the name. Not discouraged, the brothers began to think of a new name and ended up coming up with something iconic. The brothers decided on the name Arby's as a play on their initials, RB, which meant Raffel Brothers. Neat, huh? Then they opened their first restaurant just outside of Youngstown, Ohio. Apart from its decision to be different and not follow the hamburger path, the business looked for other ways to be different. The brothers splashed cash on their interior design and made it more luxurious than other fast food restaurants of the time. The Raffles believed a fancy interior would help them attract richer customers. Arby's quickly became popular with its small menu of roast beef sandwiches, extra-large iced tea, soft drinks, and potato chips. Its roast beef sandwiches and luxury decor made it stand out so much that its customers didn't care about the price of its sandwiches, which was 69 cents. This was particularly expensive, especially at a time when hamburger stands sold hamburgers for just 15 cents. The business hired Peskin Sign Company to create its hat sign, which would become iconic to the company, and it began expanding its stores. By the end of 1965, the company already had 5 stores, and it was just getting started. 1967 saw the company with 100 stores, and by the 70s, the store had reached 300. It wasn't only the number of locations that was growing, the menu did too, and it expanded to include the beef and cheddar, Jamocha shakes, chicken sandwiches, curly fries, and the Arby sauce and horsey sauce. However, the business had a major problem: funding. The brand had sustained itself in the late 60s by relying on investments from individual investors and bank loans. But it decided to go big by going public. After registering for an offering in 1970, the brothers were sure they would be able to raise the amount of money they needed to go to war with their competitors. Sadly, the company hit new problems. The Securities and Exchange Commission changed an accounting rule that prevented Arby's from making its offering until April. April came, but it wasn't the salvation the brothers thought it would be. The business couldn't offer shares because the issues market collapsed. Things then went from bad to worse. The brothers couldn't sell, and they had become broke. It got so bad that they couldn't even pay their bills. Unfortunately, problems kept coming in. The banks that loaned the brothers money feared Arby's was doomed, and they stepped in to protect their investment. The banks took over the company and laid off workers. It was a bloody affair. And what if we told you that it still got worse? The franchise owners felt the brothers scammed them and stopped paying royalties. Only one thing remained for Arby's to do: bankruptcy. Chapter 11, Bankruptcy. And if you like to learn about the history of your favorite eateries, be sure to subscribe for more content like this. The brothers were down, but not out. They struggled and managed to regain control of their company 5 months after its bankruptcy. They returned with a bang, achieved profitability in a few years, and hit 500 locations by 1975. But the brothers still wanted more locations. However, this time they were more cautious and preferred to merge with a giant company instead of going public or getting loans. In 1976, the brothers found a company, Royal Crown Cola, that was willing to buy Arby's from them. They agreed to sell their company to Royal Crown Cola for $18 million. But the brothers weren't retiring yet. The new owner kept the brothers as the head of the sandwich chain, and business continued to boom. After 3 years, the brothers decided it was time for them to leave, which they did as millionaires. As they left, everything the brothers built began to crumble. The early 80s were a period of doom for the sandwich chain. From having millions in unit sales, the business began to sell thousands. While its competitors grew stronger, the company continued to nosedive until Miami financier and expert in hostile takeovers, Victor Posner, bought Royal Crown through his DWG Corp. The new owner hired Leonard Roberts to serve as the sandwich chain's new executive. The move was a masterstroke. Roberts followed in the footsteps of the Raffle brothers and began to return the company to its former glory. Roberts returned the business to its roots as a roast beef sandwich maker. The new executive then built on those unique roots by also putting other products like roast chicken, deli sandwiches, and chicken cordon bleu sandwiches on the menu. By the mid-1980s, the brand was one of the leaders of the American fast food market. Unit sales went through the roof as the brand launched an aggressive advertising campaign and became more customer-centric. The late 80s saw store numbers increase to 2,100, with annual sales crossing $1 billion. The industry knew how impressive the company was moving and ranked the chain as the 12th ranked fast food chain then. However, Arby's progress didn't reflect in the business. Posner was taking profits from the chain to invest in his other businesses. Roberts became furious. Despite all his hard work, and even the employees couldn't benefit from the improved sales. He tackled Posner, who was in trouble himself. Posner had a tax evasion case where he received a $7 million fine and 5 years probation. Also, he was the subject of an insider trading investigation. Having enough, Roberts began a revolution against Posner by backing franchise owners who had put together $200 million to buy the company from Posner. Posner said no, and Roberts completely lost control of his temper. He publicly criticized Posner, and things spiraled out of control. The owner fired Roberts, and the company began to implode. Franchise owners began to revolt, and the business failed to make any progress. During this period, the company managed to continue its Canadian expansion through its franchise owner Les Franchises PRAG Inc., who opened what would be the 100th store. Also, the company expanded to Europe with 2 stores in the United Kingdom and GSR Restaurant Group as the franchise owner in 1992. However, the 2 stores closed down, and later, Barone Restaurants opened 2 new stores in Southampton, Hampshire, and Sutton, Surrey. Unfortunately, these 2 stores also closed down. Just as things were poor in the UK, they were terrible for the parent company as Posner's DWG collapsed and became Triarch Companies Inc., which hired Don Pierce. Despite Pierce's best efforts, he had to sell all company locations to RTM Restaurant Group, an Arby's franchise owner, for $71 million. Then RTM became cocky, and the company had to move against its franchise owner. In 2002, RTM wanted to buy Cybra Inc., another Arby's franchise owner with 293 locations. The company intervened and bought Cybra instead, and in 2005, it bought RTM. Then, like clockwork, the company got into trouble. Access Now filed a lawsuit against RTM for not abiding by the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. The business fixed this mess, and in 2008, the parent company, Triarch, bought Wendy's and merged it with Arby's to become a dual-branded restaurant. Triarch changed its name to the Wendy's Arby's Group and began expanding into new locations like Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and Turkey. Again, Arby's finances began to dwindle. This time, the group decided to sell off the majority of its stake in Arby's to Rorark Capital Group and kept about 18% of it. With the sale, the business had continued to expand and still managed to improve sales. The new owners went after the unproductive locations and shut them down. Things continued to improve, and then it happened. In an all too familiar fashion, it found itself in another mess. The company began the subject of a malware attack and allowed hackers to gain the financial information of its customers. But the business managed to rise above this issue. Today, Arby's is owned by Inspire Brands and is worth billions of dollars. The chain's success continued to be rooted in its history and commitment to serving high-quality roast beef sandwiches and other menu items. Arby's should not exist with the kind of turbulent history it has, but somehow the business always gets out of a pinch. Do you think the company will continue to get out of trouble, or will it eventually fall? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to support our channel.